Ford Ranger plug-in hybrid review. Powering up the pickup. Meet the UK and Europe's first plug-in hybrid pickup, the Ford Ranger PHEV. More than just a novelty. Recent tax changes and some clever tech mean this might just be the best way to carry on lifestyling with a go-anywhere. Do anything truck in 2025. Priced competitively against the diesel alternatives. It is largely uncompromised by the addition of a chunky lithium-ion battery pack, offering plenty of power and more torque than any other Ranger, including the high-performance Ranger Raptor. And it still has 3.5-ton towing and 1.0-ton payload capacity. That you can also use the drive battery as a mobile power station means extra versatility. 2. I've been driving it, in Iceland, on a volcano, as you do. At a glance. Pros. Powerful hybrid system. Fully capable off-road. Cheaper to tax. Great mobile workshop potential. Cons. Electric driving range is short. Slightly less load space. What's new? Up until now, the regular Ranger has been a 2.0-liter or 3.0-liter diesel affair. Here you get a 2.3-liter EcoBoost petrol engine combined with a 75 kilowatts, 100 bhp, electric motor tucked into the 10-speed automatic transmission. The motor is juiced by an 11.8 kilowatt-hours battery pack that sits under the load bed. That doesn't sound very big by modern standards, but incorporating it still required changes to the rear chassis rails and puts a 20mm power bulge into the load floor. Modified suspension corrects for the inevitable shift in unladen weight distribution. But since the Ranger was already set up for heavy rear payload requirements, this isn't a significant difference from the driver's perspective. More exciting is the new Ford Pro Power Onboard capability. This gives you 3 plug sockets, 1 in the cab, 2 in the load box, that can draw on all those lithium ions to provide silent power for tools, camping equipment and almost anything else you can think of that might need turning on away from the national grid. Stick a roof tent on the top and you're set for the next Armageddon. And no matter if the battery goes flat, because you can still run the outlets using the petrol engine, though maybe not overnight at the caravan park. What are the specs? The hybrid system delivers a combined max of 277 bhp and 514 pound-feet of torque. Quite a bit more than the 237 bhp and 442 pound-feet the 3.0-liter diesel Ranger musters. It's not super relevant in a pickup, but that means the Ranger Hybrid does 0 to 62 miles per hour in 9.2 seconds to 0.5 seconds faster than the big diesel. Electric-only driving range is 25.5 miles at best. According to the WLTP figures, nothing to get too excited about, but the resulting 70 to 72 grams per kilometer CO2 means much lower benefit-in-kind tax. Important now that double-cab pickup trucks are no longer considered commercial vehicles in this way. With gross payload ratings in excess of 1.000 kilogram. However, the Ranger PHEV still qualifies for VAT exemption. With charging restricted to AC, you'll need 4 hours to fully top up from the mains. You can also charge while you drive, a handy feature for such a multi-purpose vehicle, but this will put a dent in your fuel economy. Officially, this is 88 to 90 mpg on the WLTP combined cycle. With a flat battery, it's more like 30 mpg in the real world, where the EV driving range was 21 miles in my hands. Even so, if you can regularly charge it on an electric car-friendly tariff at home, this should still be a cheap pickup to run. How does it drive? The on-road driving experience is very much like that of any other Ranger, which is to say impressive for a pickup but a little more shuddery and robust than you'd expect from a comparatively priced SUV or car. By truck standards, it really does ride remarkably well. Ford's got the steering neatly dialed in, too, and although you'll never forget how big it is, you can hustle it along pretty nicely. This is achieved in comparative quiet, since active noise cancellation suppresses intrusions from the engine whenever it kicks in. Ford's 10-speed gearbox isn't always a charm, but it works well enough here that I really only noticed its clunkier traits when using the low-range setting off-road. Perhaps the integrated e-motor makes it smoother. A series of clutches mean all 4 wheels can be driven by the e-motor. The engine or a combination of the two. Clambering about the Icelandic scenery, in an area where this was permitted, The plug-in Ranger makes short work of slopes of volcanic shingle, demonstrates decent axle articulation, and has no fear of river crossings up to 800 millimeters deep. A whole host of driving modes are available via the terrain management system, and there are 4 settings for the all-wheel drive, plus a rear diff lock and hill descent control. Frankly, it felt like it was barely breaking sweat in such a controlled environment. Same when towing a 2-ton trailer. Something a multitude of cameras and other tech makes relatively straightforward, even for a novice. What about the interior? It's basically the same as any other current Ranger inside, aside from the addition of an EV mode button that gives you control over the use of the battery power. This is hardly a bad thing, as the Ranger is much more car-like than most commercial vehicles. There's plenty of space, the driving position is adjustable enough, and visibility is good in every direction. A 12.0-inch touchscreen makes it feel modern, but there are still plenty of buttons, including for the climate control. Material and build quality are well up to whatever task or family member you might throw at it. Before you buy trims and rivals, you can have the Ranger PHEV as 3 trim levels: XLT, Wildtrak and Stormtrack. All are well equipped, but XLT is decidedly the most work-like of the 3. Wildtrak is the standard Ranger lifestyle choice, while the Stormtrack builds on this with bespoke graphics and additional accessories, including not only the basic Pro Power Onboard system but also a trick-moving sports bar on the load bed that's designed to solve the problem of carrying longer items. There are no other plug-in hybrid pickups on the market, so it's either this, a diesel from within the Ranger lineup or the usual rivals Isuzu and Toyota, or a full electric model from Maxus. Don't bother with the latter. And though diesel is no nonsense and well proven in this sector, the Pro Power versatility and big advantages of the Ranger PHEV surely deserve some serious attention. Verdict: the UK's best-selling pickup adds yet another string to its bow with this comprehensively well-thought-out plug-in hybrid model. Yes, you could complain that the EV driving range is pitiful and point out that £4,000 over the 2.0-liter diesel is a hefty amount to pay. But for me, the pros far outweigh the cons here, taking some of the guilt away from the pleasure of plugging about in a pickup at the same time. This could well be the ultimate lifestyle vehicle available to buyers in the UK. 0 emissions on the school run, powerful and flexible enough to tackle serious work, and then ready to head into the hills at the weekend. I want one, more than I've wanted any other test car in quite some time.